And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at Spring Meadow. Interestingly enough, Spring Meadow is the third in a trilogy of tile-laying games from Mr. Uwe Rosenberg. He did Cottage Garden, Indian Summer. This is the third one. This is not even his third tile-laying game. He's also done Patchwork, Patchwork Express, and Feast for Odin. So this is, I think, his sixth tile-laying game, unless there's one I've forgotten about. But this is definitely the third in a trilogy, which is denoted here by, of course, the number 3 on the side. All these games are, basically tile-laying, pattern-making, Tetris-ish style. Although this one's closest to Tetris. This one, you are the theme of a hiker. You're going across and hiking, and you're finding a grassy patch. Ah, how wonderful. Here's how it plays. To win the game, you need to get 2 pins. How do you get pins? That's by filling up your board. You have a big snowbank here. Each player will have their own board, and you can do them sideways if you want, if you don't want to do them up and down. And you're trying to fill it with grassy tiles. From this middle board here, you're going to have tiles that are randomly placed there. You'll be adding more as time goes by. And you're trying to score full rows all the way up. Think Tetris style. When it's your turn, players will be numbered 1 to 4, whatever number you're playing with. And so if I'm player 1, every time it's going to be moving, whoever's player it is going to take a tile from that row or column. And then you will add that tile to your board. Now, there's some obvious things you can't place off. You can't put on top of another tile. You can't move a tile once it's placed. And you can just place, I could place a tile here, for example, or I might place it here. There are holes in the tiles that you see. You don't need to put those holes on top of anything, but there are burrows here in the ground. Those don't need to be covered up, but you can put a hole over them if you want to. When you do, that's going to be worth a point later on. If you're forced at some point to cover up a burrow, that might happen, then you'll pick one of these holes that you haven't covered up and put a little gopher on top of it, basically shutting that down from scoring you points. So players are going to be filling these up as time goes by, and then when it's your turn, we'll move this and you'll take one of the tiles and put them here. Now, when you put holes down next to each other, so let's see, not this one, but let's say I do this here. I place this tile, there are now 2 holes next to each other. I can take a rock tile, that's 1 less than the number of hole tiles I put together. I get 1, 2, 3, and 4 size rock tiles. So this is 2, I get a 1, and then you can put that. So hey, look. I could put it in here because that's the only way I'm ever going to be able to cover that up. And then maybe later on, I'll put this one here, which means I'm going to need another single rock tile here. And so players are going to be placing these on the board in various ways. I'd put this one here, for example, and maybe later on, this one goes here. And I'm just kind of putting tiles down for now. Ooh, I got a 3, which means I can take a rock tile, and I'm going to take a small one and put it right here. Now, whenever this signpost gets to a spot and there is 0 or 1 tiles in that row or column, there's going to be a scoring turn. When that happens, the person who initiated that is going to get a picnic, which gives them 2 scoring points. That's because they don't get to put a tile down that turn. Then each player is going to look at their board, and for each complete row, starting from the bottom, they have 10 scoring points. And then the first incomplete row, they get 1 point per thing in that row. So 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, plus a bonus for each burrow that I can see through a hole. So 25 scoring points. Whoever has the most scoring points, remember whoever initiates the scoring gets +2. Whoever has the most gets a medal. And remember, you get 2 medals, you win the game. Also, whoever gets the medal is going to be forced to cover up all their burrows with the little gophers here, because you're not going to be able to do that the next time there's a scoring phase. The board will then be filled up, with random tiles. You can also play a variant where the tiles aren't so random, and then you just keep going around until there's another scoring phase, and this will happen. And then people are going to be filling higher and higher, hopefully. Remember, you can start up here, but that doesn't really help you scoring-wise. You're trying to make complete rows, if at all possible. That's how you play. Each player has their own scoring board here, and the boards are different where the burrows are. You can see that. Although it is odd, I wonder why they did this. When I flipped them over, they're the exact same on the other side as they are on one side. I found that to be kind of an interesting thing. I would have made them double different on the sides, but whatever. This is for a 2 or 4 player board. You can turn this over, and this is for solitaire or a 3 player board, and that's because you will be using the diagonals if you do that. The tiles themselves are very good properties. It's not so easy to tell them right out, but you can see they have different color flowers on them. So as you're building your thing, you'll have this nice meadow of various color flowers. And the rocks, and there's a lot of different artwork, but there's also a lot of repeats. Like these rocks are pretty close to the same, except one has a couple mice on it. But it does add it to it, and when your board is finished, the whole thing looks good. There's basically just a lot of tiles in this box. There's not a lot more than that, but the component quality is fine. My only complaint might be this signpost, which seemingly keeps falling apart, and you're constantly moving it around the board. I might have liked the flatter piece better, but that's a super, super, super minor complaint. Other than that, everything looks great. This game feels like a slow game of Tetris. It really does, because you're trying to make those rows even. When I play Tetris, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to slide the pieces in. Now, you're not doing the same thing here, but your whole focus is fill rows, try to fit holes in here, do what I can to get as many points as possible, because I need to get that medal on the next scoring. And every game I played so far, it's been pretty close. No one has won 2 medals in a row yet, because usually everyone else who hasn't won somehow catches up a little bit. There's like, I mean, you have to cover up your burrows. It's not a huge swing, but it's a small swing, and people are slowly building up, and you're just trying to get those complete rows and trying to get holes together so that you can get that stupid little rock thing to fill that missing hole that you left there. There's various things coming up, and I like it. So I'm going to be asked, which one would you get? Cottage Garden, Indian Summer, or Spring Meadow? I don't think you need all 3. I know that's not what the publisher wants to hear. They want you to get all of them. And the publisher would say, but they're all very different. They are, but you need all 3 in your collection only for someone who loves this style of game. They all have differences to them. Cottage Garden is just about filling things up. That's all it's about. It's fast filling things up. It feels like it's the lightest of the 3, and if that's what you're looking for, that's what I'd get. Indian Summer is about filling stuff up as quickly as you possibly can. I like that too. And then Spring Meadow is about filling things up in a specific row, and it's more about fitting things in tight spaces. This is probably the thinkiest of the 3, although not by much. All right, it's the least beautiful of the 3, although again not by much. It's still a pretty game. Just the other 2 are absolutely gorgeous. And if I was only getting 1, I don't know. I might lean towards this one, but this is the last one I played, so maybe I like that one more. It's just as good as the other 2, and that is praise. I remember playing Cottage Garden thinking, this is great. Played Indian Summer, said, this is great and feels different. I looked at this one, I said, this one looks similar. And yeah, it has some things that Indian Summer has the little holes in there and putting holes together, giving you tiles. That's from Indian Summer. But then taking the tiles from a grid that's in the middle and going around in a circle, that's from Cottage Garden. So it almost feels like it's half of both of those games. So if you like the idea of Tetris, but you don't want to do that quick, and you're not worried about the time running out, but you're slowly trying to snap pieces into this grid, putting holes together, putting holes over burrows to get extra points, and just trying to build as fast, cover as much stuff as possible without leaving holes, then Spring Meadow is your game. I like it. I think this is the end of the trilogy, but it's a good end, and it bookends quite nicely. Dice Tower Judgment approved.